All right, so today we're going to be looking into Quentin Tarantino and his soundtracks.
Yeah.
We have this amazing interview with him where he just goes into detail about his musical philosophy.
Absolutely.
And really it's about more than just throwing on some good tunes in the background.
Yeah, it's not just background music. It's really about how he uses music as like a storytelling tool,
Yeah.
to kind of like build characters
Right.
and create these kind of memorable moments in his films that you just can't shake off.
Right. And today we're going to kind of uncover how he actually does that.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking into, his love of unexpected genres.
Right.
And we're going to get into the stories behind some of those iconic song choices.
Exactly. And who knows?
Well,
Maybe we'll even find some inspiration for our own playlists along the way.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that I think is really cool and interesting about Tarantino's approach is like how intentional he is about using music.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he actually starts building his soundtracks even before he starts writing the script.
He's talked about how he uses music to kind of find the personality and spirit of the film.
Oh, wow.
It's like the music almost helps him figure out what the movie wants to be.
Right.
And then, of course, there are those amazing opening and closing credits.
Right.
Where he uses specific songs to really nail the tone.
Yeah, and it's like, I think one of the best examples of that is like Kill Bill Vol 1.
Oh, for sure.
With Nancy Sinatra's Bang Bang, My Baby Shot Me Down.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, that instantly sets the stage.
Absolutely.
Like, you're in for this like revenge-fueled ride.
Right.
And it's going to be stylish and violent, just like all of his films.
Right.
It's like that first chord is just like a promise.
A promise of what's to come.
Of what's to come, exactly.
Yeah.
But here's where I think it gets kind of interesting.
Okay.
And maybe a little bit surprising. Tarantino's got this deep love for surf music.
Yeah, and I mean, on the surface, that might not seem so strange, but, here's the thing. He sees a connection between surf music and spaghetti westerns.
Whoa. I never would have made that connection.
Yeah.
Like, could you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so, he grew up in the 70s, like, surrounded by that surf rock sound.
Right.
But what he hears in it are these twangy guitars and the driving rhythms and that kind of like cinematic energy.
Oh, wow.
And to him, that's the sound of like a rock and roll spaghetti western.
That's such a unique perspective.
It is, and it really shapes the sound of his film.
Yeah, it's not just about using music from a certain time period to create like a vibe.
Exactly.
It's really thinking about how the music itself reflect the themes and energy of the story he wants to tell.
Absolutely. And, he's actually pretty critical of filmmakers who use period music as like a lazy shortcut.
Oh, really?
To like evoke nostalgia.
Okay.
He calls it, turning up the soundtrack to create this kind of fake authenticity.
Right.
He wants the music to be like woven into the fabric of the film.
Right. It has to earn its place. It can't just be background noise. It's got to be more than that. So how does this play out in his films? Right. Because, I'm thinking of like, some films where the music's perfectly in sync with what's happening on screen.
Yeah.
But then other times it's totally unexpected.
Right. Well, he kind of uses a few different approaches.
Okay.
You think about Reservoir Dogs, for instance.
Yeah.
All the music you hear in that film is diegetic sound.
Okay.
Meaning it's coming from a source within the scene.
Okay.
Like a character turns on the radio.
Right.
Or they're singing along to something.
Yeah.
And it just adds to that gritty, realistic feel of the film.
So it's like we're experiencing the world through the characters' ears.
Exactly.
Like we're hearing what they're hearing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then you've got something like Pulp Fiction.
Right.
Where he uses a lot of surf music as part of the score.
Oh, yeah.
So that's non-diegetic sound.
Okay.
So it's not coming from a source within the scene. And it creates this really interesting contrast with all the violence and the dark humor.
Yeah.
It's like stylish, almost ironic.
Right.
In a way.
And then like in Death Proof,
Oh, yeah.
he takes it even further with like bubblegum pop songs as this kind of like jarring counterpoint to the really brutal action.
Yeah, it's unsettling, but it's also kind of funny in a twisted way.
Right.
It's
very Tarantino.
Yeah, he's definitely playing with our expectations there.
Yeah.
Keeping us on edge.
Okay.
And then in a film like Jackie Brown, you get this like more harmonious blend of 70s soul and funk that reflects the characters and the whole vibe of the film.
Right.
It's smoother, more laid back.
So he's really like experimenting with all these different approaches.
Absolutely.
To kind of get the effect that he wants.
Right.
But it always feels like the music is serving the story.
Exactly.
Not the other way around.
It's all about the story.
Yeah.
And, he wants the music to become a part of your memory of the film. He's actually said his goal is to create such a strong connection between the music and the image that you can't hear a particular song again without instantly picturing that scene in your head.
Right. And he's really picky.
Oh, yeah.
About the music he chooses.
Very particular.
Like, he's even said that it's kind of a poser move to use a song that's already, like, associated with another film.
Yeah, he has.
There's this great anecdote about how he considered using My Sharona for the rape scene in Pulp Fiction.
Oh, wow.
And he actually thought the song had a good sodomy beat.
Oh, my God.
But ultimately, he decided against it.
Yeah.
Because he felt like it'd be too comedic and undercut the seriousness of the scene.
Right. He didn't want to make it into a joke.
Right, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, it shows that even though he has like this dark sense of humor, he's really committed to the story.
Absolutely.
And the characters above all else.
Yeah.
But even though he's not a huge fan of using like remakes in general, he will if they fit his vision perfectly. And he's talked about how like Urge Overkill's cover of Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon actually surpassed Neil Diamond's original for him.
Right.
And when you hear it in the context of that scene with Uma Thurman, you totally understand what he means.
Totally.
It's haunting and beautiful.
It is.
And it completely transforms the original song.
Yeah.
And it's like he found the perfect song for that moment.
Exactly.
Even if it's a cover.
Yeah. And this brings us to another really interesting thing about Tarantino.
Okay.
He sees his soundtracks as mixtapes.
Oh, wow.
Reflecting his really diverse musical taste.
Right.
It's like each soundtrack is this curated musical journey.
Yeah.
Is a little glimpse into his personal world.
Right.
And you can just feel his passion in every track he chooses.
Yeah, it's like he's created this genre.
It is.
Of just like a Quentin tape.
Yeah, a Quentin tape.
And it's like anything goes.
Right.
As long as it's cool.
As long as it's cool.
Catchy.
Catchy.
And it tells a story.
And it tells a story. And it makes you want to just go back and watch those movies again,
Right.
Just to hear the soundtracks.
Yeah, totally. Like, it reminds me of making mixtapes for friends.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Where each song had, like, a special meaning, a feeling you wanted to capture.
Exactly.
It's that same kind of curated expression.
Yeah.
But on a cinematic level.
Absolutely. And his soundtracks are, like, really an extension of his filmmaking.
Totally. And speaking of which, we kind of talk about those opening credit sequences.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we talk about Kill Bill Vol. 1 and the intensity of that.
Right.
But there's so many other great examples.
Oh, there are.
Of how he uses music to set the stage right from the start.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like, Inglourious Bastards, he uses David Bowie's Cat People putting out fire.
That's such a good one.
It's so eerie and suspenseful.
It is.
It's like a warning.
Right.
Something bad's about to happen.
Yeah, like foreshadowing all the danger.
It's just this tone of suspense and anticipation.
And then you've got Django Unchained, where like Jamie Foxx's character Django is like singing along to The Payback by James Brown.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a powerful moment.
It is. You get this immediate sense of, like, his strength and determination to break free.
Yeah, it's like that song becomes his anthem.
Yeah. It's like the driving force behind his actions.
Yeah, and in Jackie Brown, the opening credits roll with Bobby Womack's Across 110th Street.
Oh, yeah.
Which perfectly captures like the gritty, soulful vibe of that movie.
It's like a time machine taking you straight back to 70s LA.
Right.
Like that song becomes the sound of the streets, the pulse of the city.
Yeah, and you're about to enter this world
exactly
of complex characters and unexpected twists.
Absolutely.
Each of those openings is so carefully crafted.
They are.
To create like a specific mood. And it all comes back to his understanding of like the power of music.
Right.
He's not just choosing songs he likes.
Yeah.
He's thinking about rhythm and lyrics and emotional impact.
Right.
And how it all works with the visuals.
Yeah.
To create a truly immersive experience.
It's like he's conducting an orchestra.
Yeah.
But with songs instead of instruments.
Right.
He's using them to tell a story, build suspense, get a laugh, and leave you wanting more.
And it's not just like big name artists either.
No,
right? Like he's given lesser known bands and even like forgotten tracks a chance to shine in his films.
He has.
He's got such a diverse musical palette.
He's a true music fan, always on the hunt for the perfect song.
Right.
Whether it's from a legendary artist or something he dug up from a dusty record crate.
Yeah.
That's what makes the soundtrack so unique.
It's like he's creating like a musical time capsule.
He is.
Preserving these songs and introducing them to a whole new generation of listeners.
Yeah. And by doing that, he's shaping our own musical memories.
Right.
Think about it. Those songs become linked to the scenes they accompany.
Right.
And they take on new meanings and feelings because of how he uses them.
Yeah, it's true. Like, you can't hear Stuck in the Middle with You without thinking of that scene in Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, you can't.
He gives these songs a whole new life within his films.
He does.
And he's always like pushing boundaries, experimenting with different genres.
Right.
Like we talked about with like surf music and his spaghetti western connection.
Exactly. It's that unexpected blend of influences that makes his soundtrack so unpredictable.
Yeah.
And memorable.
And memorable. You never know what you're going to get next.
You don't. And that's what makes it so fun to explore his work.
Yeah.
It's like a musical treasure hunt.
Right.
Full of surprises.
It makes you appreciate like the artistry and thought.
It does.
That goes into creating a soundtrack that like complements and enhances a film.
Absolutely.
It's not just background music.
No, it's a whole other layer of storytelling.
Exactly.
It's about creating a sonic world that adds depth and emotion and meaning to the story.
And Tarantino is a master at that.
He is.
Using music to create this cinematic magic that stays with you.
It does.
Long after the movie's over.
For sure.
It makes you realize that a great soundtrack is truly an integral part of the film itself.
It is.
Yeah, it really does make you think about music and movies differently.
It does.
It's not just about setting the mood.
No.
It's about revealing character.
Right.
Building tension.
Yeah.
And sometimes even foreshadowing.
Absolutely. Like, think about the scene in Pulp Fiction where Vincent takes Mia to Jack Rabbit Slim's.
Oh, yeah.
They're dancing to Chuck Berry's You Never Can Tell.
Right.
And it just perfectly captures that, like, awkward first date energy.
Yeah, it's playful and nostalgic.
Yeah.
But you get this sense of danger.
Yeah, lurking beneath the surface.
Yeah. And of course.
So Tarantino.
Yeah, their dance to that song is iconic.
Oh, it is.
You can't hear that song and not picture John Travolta and Uma Thurman twisting on that stage.
Exactly. He's got this way of creating these moments that are just burned into our memories. Yeah. And the music is such a big part of that.
Right.
But, you know, he's not afraid to use music in surprising ways, too.
Oh, absolutely. Like in Reservoir Dogs, with the ear-cutting scene.
Oh, my God.
And Stuck in the Middle with You is playing.
Yeah.
It's such a jarring contrast.
It is.
Makes you squirm in your seat.
It's one of those choices that, you know, it's brilliant.
Right.
But it also makes you really uncomfortable.
Yeah, like that upbeat, almost whimsical tone. Yeah. Makes the brutality of the scene even more disturbing.
Yeah, like he's intentionally messing with us.
Why do you think he does that?
I think it's partly about pushing boundaries.
Okay.
You know, challenging us as viewers.
Yeah.
But it's also about creating this really unique tone.
Okay.
A blend of humor and violence and tension. Yeah.
That you don't see anywhere else.
Right.
It's all part of his style.
So for someone who's just starting to, like, explore Tarantino's films. Yeah. What should they be listening for?
Well, I think the first thing is just to pay attention to how he uses music to tell the story.
Okay.
You know, notice the difference between diegetic sound, the sound coming from the world of the film, versus non-diegetic sound, added as part of the score.
Right, and how he uses specific songs to create a mood.
Absolutely.
Or reveal something about a character.
Exactly.
And don't be surprised if he throws in a song that's, like, totally unexpected.
Oh, yeah.
But somehow works perfectly.
Right, he's not afraid to take risks.
Right, like going back to that idea of, like, the Quentin tape.
Yeah, the Quentin
So, like, imagine him as a DJ.
Yeah.
You know?
Carefully selecting each track. Right. Creating this whole experience.
That's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Exactly. He wants to keep you guessing.
Keep you engaged.
Keep you on the edge of your seat. So next time you're watching a Tarantino film, crank up the volume.
Crank it up.
And really listen.
Listen closely.
You might discover your new favorite song.
Yeah.
Or you might gain a whole new appreciation for, like, how powerful music can be in film.
Absolutely.
It's like a whole other language he's speaking.
It is. And, you know, maybe it'll inspire you to create your own Quentin tapes for your own life.
Oh, that's such a cool idea.
Yeah, think about the songs that capture your own experiences, your personality, the moments that define who you are.
Yeah.
It's a fun way to think about the soundtrack to your own story.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're all DJs of our own lives in a way.
We are.
Curating the music that shapes our journey.
Absolutely.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
My pleasure.